Hey, it's KMK, and we just got episode 4 of Game of Thrones, and even though it was short, it was still a better episode than episode 3, making every single episode we've got so far better than the one before it. So if Game of Thrones can keep that up, we're going to have some amazing content coming in the next 3 weeks. So for now, let's look at the episode 5 preview and see if that actually indicates that the next episode will be better than episode 4, and if the show can keep up their really good work.
I'm not here to murder. Bend the knee and join me. Or refuse and die.
So it definitely appears that Dany is going for a unique tactic here. Generally, when you obliterate someone's army, burn them to shits, run through them cutting them to pieces, they're not exactly keen to join up with you afterwards. Normally after a battle is lost, the soldiers are captured as prisoners of war or entirely killed off. Though as the Dothraki are a kind of comparison to Genghis Khan and the Mongols, it could be seen as a parallel to how when he raided and conquered, his army actually grew from people joining him, his enemies he defeated, or people he came across, so his army would grow more than he would actually lose troops as he conquered the land, and this is mainly why he could conquer so far without becoming too weak. As well, it seems like Tyrion wasn't really briefed on the plan here. We kind of see him start to be a little bit shocked by Dany's statements, but we see more of this in the next clip.
You need to find a way to make her listen.
So as I suspected, Dany is completely ignoring Tyrion at this point. His list of failures that are growing longer and longer has made her entirely ignore her advice, even if he has some ground to stand on with some of his points. So it's going to be a big struggle for Tyrion and Varys to actually regain footing with Daenerys and influence over her. It may take her losing a battle that she started, or a dragon, or someone important to her personally for her to start listening to Tyrion and Varys again. Whether that's good for her or not is a different thing entirely. But at least this confirms our main suspicion. The entire storyline for Daenerys this season will be around aggressive war versus careful diplomacy. We've seen time and time again things keep failing for her. When she tries to go the peaceful route and talk with people and do things slowly and siege and minimize the death and suffering, she keeps on losing. But when she goes full hard out, she brings out her dragon, starts flaming armies to death, she starts winning. Everything seems to be de-incentivizing her doing the right thing, and incentivizing her becoming a warlord, which is how every good ruler in history has become corrupt with power. Because personally I thought her attacking King's Landing right away would have been the best tactic. Once Cersei was dead, all the lords would have fell in line because there's no one to oppose her. And it's not like Cersei is liked in any way, shape or form. She destroyed the head of the faith, blew up the scepter of Baelor, took the throne by force, isn't a Baratheon or next in line, accused of adultery, incest, and is quite crazy. So it wouldn't be hard to convince the lords to switch sides after Cersei died and they had assurances they'd be able to keep most of their land, resources, and men alive. But that's just my thoughts. Tell me what you think in the comment section below.
Whatever stands in our way, we will defeat it.
So right away we can see from Cersei why Dany is having such big trouble playing the safe route. In normal war, people were willing to do quite a lot to win, but they have priorities above winning. Keeping their family safe, keeping their people alive, fed, making sure the realm's better intact. But Cersei doesn't have any of that tying her down. She's willing to win at any cost, just like Littlefinger. I'm definitely expecting Cersei to pull out a lot more absolutely terrifying things out of her pocket. She is willing to destroy the realm to be Queen of the Ashes. And that mentality is going to make it so much harder for Dany to win this without becoming that herself. Though it does seem that the bond between Jon and Daenerys is getting fairly close. The showrunners have been dropping some hints that their bond is starting to form a bit of attraction between them.
And then to make it all even more complicated, they're starting to be attracted to each other.
So Jon's influence constantly pulling her north and looking on the bigger pictures and against the White Walkers is going to be essential for her not going full crazy and winning this war Mad King style. And every single episode, I swear we're becoming closer and closer to a sex scene between Dany and Jon. But personally, above that, I really want to see another dragon rider. It doesn't have to be Jon or Tyrion or the people we really want. I just want there to be a character to be introduced that rides another dragon. We haven't actually got the Field of Fire 2.0. That last scene we got was pretty badass, but it didn't have all 3 dragons unleashed. I want to see that, and when it happens, I want other people riding those dragons. If a dragon must die throughout the season, I'd prefer to die with the main character as well, so it really hits us in the fucking gut. But the main thing will be that Jon and Dany's relationship is going to become more and more important as the season goes on.
Bran saw the Night King and his army marching towards Eastwatch. Bad things are coming.
Okay, so Bran's using his powers to keep tabs on the White Walkers. But let's talk about the logistics of how this information is transferred first. Now, one of two things could happen. Bran could have seen this vision, and then sent a letter to Dragonstone where Jon still is. He receives that letter, and then reads it out to Daenerys, and then adds on top of already the White Walkers suggest that, oh yeah, my brother, who's a warg and can see visions, is also watching them by looking through animals. Which I didn't know until just now, where I either received a raven telling me this, or Bran contacted me in some kind of dream. At this point, Dany really has to start thinking, maybe this guy's a bit crazy. If Jon wasn't low-key wooing her over, she definitely would have dismissed all of this. It's just layers upon layers of craziness. Now that Bran has changed to this weird different character from the Brandon Stark we've known for all the previous seasons, is he now strong enough to fend off the Night King from marking him or grabbing him or pulling him out of a dream? That will be some interesting conflict we probably get in the next episode. And if Bran does some kind of dream reunion between him and Jon and gives Jon this information about the White Walkers, does he also tell him about his parentage? Now we don't know for sure, and it seems like Jon's pretty level-headed here, so perhaps not. But it would be a pretty interesting thing we could get later on the season for Bran just to show up in a dream one day like, yo, by the way, your mum's Lyanna and probably your dad's Rhaegar. Be a nice bombshell to drop in there. But that's pretty much it for this preview breakdown. If you made it this far, please subscribe to the channel. And if you watched more than one of these preview breakdowns throughout the season and you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Subscribe? I know you're there. There's no point in not subscribing. We know you're going to watch these videos, and the best way to find out when they're released is by subscribing and hitting that notification bell thing. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.
Hey, it's King McKay.